Welcome, everyone. My name is Susan Patterson, and I'm a national leader in the fight against human trafficking. This video is number 2 of a 3-part series regarding the power of community engagement. The first video addresses ways to raise awareness and the power of advocacy. The third video addresses the fact that in order to create velocity to end human trafficking, we will need to duplicate working models which are covered in the video, how we win the fight against human trafficking, a look at working models and best practices. You can find the other 2 videos I just mentioned in the training video section of this channel. Today's video looks at what we can do to support nonprofits and what training is available to professionals. Let's start by considering how we can support nonprofits. The first place to look is at your gifts and skill sets. If you are a great organizer, then organize a drive for a nonprofit or a fundraiser. We have over 20 great fundraising ideas in this video, how to raise money for nonprofits, and love doing it. Do you teach yoga? If so, then find out if you can teach a class to a nonprofit that takes care of survivors of human trafficking. They need practices like this to help them with the PTSD that they are dealing with. Are you a sales type? If so, then volunteer to host a table at an event. Nonprofits get invited to have a table at conferences all the time, so they really appreciate the opportunity for a volunteer to man those tables who has taken the time to educate themselves on what the nonprofit does. Do you cut hair? Many hair cutting salons have set aside a day where the majority of the proceeds that are earned that day go to a nonprofit. At a table are brochures to educate the public as to what human trafficking is. This is a very popular event. One gym held a martial arts class where all the proceeds went to a nonprofit. You get the idea, right? What are your gifts and skill sets, and how can you use them to raise awareness and support nonprofits? Collaboration is key here to ending human trafficking and is most powerful when you have one group contribute a strength that another group may lack. For instance, in this video, we talk about how any group could purchase the interactive game that New Age Ministries developed for at-risk girls and then contribute the game to an entity that really needs a game like this, like a church or nonprofit that is working with gang communities. We know from behavioral science that playing a game will get people to talk and share who might normally hide out in settings that encourage one to talk about themselves. So who are our key players who need training? The key players are schools, health professionals, the faith community, and hotels and motels. Statistically, over 90% of victims will see a health professional while they are victims. Hotels and motels are a common place to conduct business for sex trafficking. Schools and faith communities are some of the best places to do prevention by educating parents and the youth how traffickers trick minors. If you are looking for a great presentation on this, we have both a video and PowerPoint entitled How Parents Can Protect Their Children from Sexual Predators and Human Traffickers. Just look for them at our website, throughgodsgrace.com, on the Educational Resource tab in the Prevention section. In this part, I will provide a brief overview of who is doing what trainings, and I will be providing the names and websites of several organizations, both in this video and in the video description below. This part can be a little overwhelming. For those of you that need a handout on professional trainings that you may want to have in an awareness table, I have one on my website on the Educational Resources tab in the section entitled Mobilizing the Community. For the faith community, we have a 3-part series starting with this one, How to Create a Dynamic Anti-Human Trafficking Ministry. Many health professionals are now receiving training. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources has excellent resources, and you can find the link for those in the video description below. Dignity Health hired a survivor of sex trafficking to create a program for all their healthcare facilities. Given that they have 39 hospitals and 400 care facilities, this is significant. You can contact them if you are a hospital who would like to create in-house trainings. Many nonprofits are partnering with schools to do training for their students. Janae Luttrell, a school administrator, successfully drove the sex traffickers out of her entire school district. Look for the interview with her that is coming up at our channel. Janae does a training for teachers and administrative staff that is outstanding. You can go to the U.S. Department of Education website and search for human trafficking to find the pamphlet that she created entitled Human Trafficking in America's Schools. ECPAT offers trainings to motels and hotels. They have a pledge that hotels and motels sign that confirms their commitment to the end of human trafficking. The National Coalition on Sexual Exploitation works with this group to have them eliminate porn from their cable offerings. Otherwise, porn viewing is like throwing gasoline on the fire with regard to sex trafficking. What do you think happens when bored and lonely men watch porn? Often, they will then buy sex. The Best Alliance offers training to businesses, including hotels and motels, as to what to look for. The U.S. Institute Against Human Trafficking is another organization, and what they do is they work with businesses to create traffic-free zones. What about cities? In this video on driving the traffickers out of our neighborhoods, we refer to the fact that many cities are including what does human trafficking look like as part of the Neighborhood Watch program and are inviting Homeland Security to train their mail carriers as to what to look for and what to do. How about attorneys that are willing to work pro bono on behalf of survivors of human trafficking? They play an important part in the fight. Since 2012, the Human Trafficking Legal Center has trained more than 3,600 attorneys at leading U.S. law firms and placed 280 plus cases for free legal representation. The Human Trafficking Legal Center and their pro bono partners have a 95% civil case success rate. Each victory emboldens more survivors, and traffickers face a powerful deterrent. What about flight attendants? Airline Ambassadors International offers great training for this group. Their training has resulted in many rescues, like the one Nancy Rivard was responsible for. Nancy noticed a woman traveling with a little boy and girl. The girl was sobbing, and both children seemed very distraught, and the woman did not even seem to know the names of the children. So Nancy called the hotline number she had gotten at the AIA workshop. As a result, 82 children who had been brought to the U.S. illegally from the Dominican Republic were rescued. Now let's talk about cosmetologists, manicurists, and beauticians. The human traffickers spend a lot of money on hair and nails for their victims, so many states are requiring training for this group at the cosmetology schools. Homeland Security has a great training for this group. How about rideshare drivers like Uber and Lyft? Pimps use Uber, Lyft, and other ride-sharing services to send their victims to their, quote, dates. Lyft has partnered with Best to train their people. Since 2015, Uber has worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, ECPAT USA, and the McCain Institute to develop resources for all U.S. drivers to help them identify and report human trafficking. Truckers Against Trafficking offer training which is important, as victims of human trafficking are often forced to frequent truck stops. TAT has trained over 1 million people, and in 2020 were responsible for almost 2,700 calls from truckers to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Before 2009, when TAT started, the hotline reported 3 calls from truckers. TAT was started by Kendra Paris, a woman who saw a need and went to work. Both UPS and FedEx have partnered with Truckers Against Trafficking, and UPS calls their program the Freedom Drivers Project. For both entities, drivers are taught how to identify instances of human trafficking and how to report it. If you work for any type of entity that goes into people's homes, like a cable repair person, a plumber, an electrician, someone who delivers water, etc. Ask your management to invite Homeland Security to come in and train your people, as the human traffickers have to live somewhere. They keep the curtains closed and keep their victims in locked rooms. Often, the only person who could be responsible for the rescue of these victims is an in-home repair person who could be trained to notice signs without acting suspicious to the traffickers for their own safety. That requires training. If I didn't mention a training for your group, then just Google the name of your profession and human trafficking trainings, and trainings are being added all the time. If there isn't one, contact your local anti-human trafficking task force or call Homeland Security to ask them what they could provide. If you're in a rural area, trainings can always be done by Zoom. For this video, my purpose in outlining all the main trainings that are available is to give the community hope for everyone to see how hard so many entities are working to end this cruel exploitation of people. Please do support our work by subscribing to this channel and liking and sharing this video and adding great comments. Thank you for watching.